In our last movie, we created physical C-sets with widths by layer for the internal layers, and we assigned them to the DDR A0 through A9 bits. We did this on the Capture desktop in the constraint window. You can see the cross-section of the assignment is 4 mil widths on the inner layers and 5 mils on the outer layers. I'll save this DSN file, and then I'll save off another copy to a different directory. Now I'll exit Capture. Let's open the copy of the DSN that we saved to the new directory. I'll open SideCAR. And open the constraint window. The MyWidth physical C-set is in the DSN copy that we just opened. If we take a look at the C-set, we can see the 4 mil widths on the inner layers. The constraints we created in the last movie were saved with the DSN file in the new copy we saved off to the new directory. When we open the DSN and open the constraint window, those constraints are there too. You can send your DSN file to a coworker on your local network, and you can send your DSN file anywhere in the world over the net. And the constraints will carry with that DSN, and if you have constraint window open, those constraints will be visible and usable within the Capture desktop. Let's move these constraints that we created in Constraint window on the Capture desktop into the BRD and Constraint Manager using Netrev. I'll open Netrev by opening Create Netlist and select the Netrev option to create or update PCB editor. I'll select the original BRD that we used to bring in the default C-sets. And I'll go into Setup and select the SideCAR CFG file. And I'll start Netrev. I get an option to update the constraints. These will bring in the constraint window constraints that will go into Constraint Manager. The updated BRD opens in PCB Editor. Let's take a look at the physical worksheet in Constraint Manager. If we look at the physical C-sets, we now see the MyWidth C-set has been added to the Constraint Manager physical constraint sets. We can see it has a 4 mil width on the internal layers, just like we set up in the physical C-set in the constraint window on the Capture desktop. Let's take a look at the net assignments. Bits DDR A0 through A9 have been assigned MyWidths, and we can see that if we look at the widths by layer, these all inherit now from the physical C-set MyWidths the 4 mil width on the internal layers. We brought the bare default C-set information in from the BRD using back annotation, created physical C-sets with width by layers, and then assigned those to the nets, saved the DSN, saved off the DSN to another directory. We could have copied and moved it just as easily. then opened up NetListing and NetRev, chose the SideCar CFG config file, NetRev to the BRD file, and we can see that we moved those CSET definitions and those assignments directly from the Capture desktop to Constraint Manager.